In the headlines, lab technicians are aiming to test approximately 600 COVID-19 samples by Saturday. Police seize state assets from APNU's Christopher Jones and release him on bail. The Cuban national and his wife, who ran a Ponzi scheme in Guyana, remain in police custody. The police force says it will launch an investigation into alleged criminal conduct by GECOM's Keith Lowenfield and Claremont Mingo. The Working People's Alliance signals its intention to pull out of the APNU plus FC coalition. And in sport, Golden Jaguars captain Samuel Cox talks to Akeem Green about Guyana's group for the World Cup qualifiers. With the news, I'm Neil Marks. We're glad you could join us. Lab technicians at the National Public Health Reference Laboratory are hoping to test approximately 600 COVID-19 samples by Saturday, and the backlog in testing has now increased from 700 to 1,500. In an effort to increase testing and reduce the backlog, the Ministry of Health has implemented 2 12-hour shifts at the lab. Isanella Patwa has our story.
Over the last week, the number of COVID-19 samples sent to the National Public Health Reference Laboratory has increased significantly. Dr. Fiona Mohammed Rambaran, director of the Georgetown Public Hospital Laboratory, told the newsroom during a virtual interview on Friday. On Thursday, the lab saw an increase of 419 samples from the usual 250 to 300 daily. On an average day, about 100 to 160 tests are done at the lab. Now with the second 12-hour shift, the lab was able to test an additional 250 samples on Thursday and is aiming to increase this capacity to 600 this weekend.
I am hoping that we can clear and maybe, have some semblance of backlog of about 600 by the end of Saturday night.
Currently, there are 8 medical technologists who can perform the COVID-19 tests. However, Dr. Mohammed Rambaran explained that not all of them are competent, and this is what has resulted in the long wait for test results.
I would say we have 5 competent persons that I'm comfortable with, and we have maybe another 3 who has maybe medium to intermediate competency, so they on the curve upwards. And then we have at least 5 other persons who are being trained. So 5 totally competent and 3 almost there.
As it relates to reports of tampering with the results and tests, Dr. Mohammed Rambaran stated that a rigorous process is implemented which does not allow for tampering of any kind.
With regards to tampering of patient samples or results, I can tell you up front that does not happen. Your sample comes in, it goes through a process where it's labeled and it's taken directly to where testing occurs. It's tested and then the results is disseminated.
Additionally, a priority system will now be in place for persons who are hospitalized and were tested. With 9 COVID-19 related deaths in less than a week, the majority died without receiving their results. When a sample is sent to the lab, it goes with a form which states the location of the patient, and if the form shows that the patient is admitted in the hospital and then swabbed, then the testing will be prioritized.
At the Public Health Laboratory, we developed some systems to prioritize the patients who are in hospital, the critical patients, so to speak, so that those results can be provided faster to the clinicians.
Guyana on August 20th, 2020 recorded its 30th COVID-19 related death. This patient died before receiving their result. Guyana's COVID-19 cases stand at 846 with 399 recoveries. There are 77 persons in institutional isolation, including 8 persons in the ICU and 333 persons in home isolation. Reporting for the newsroom, I am Isanella Patwa.
The police on Friday released former Director of Sports Christopher Jones on bail of $100,000. He was arrested earlier on a claim that he had state assets at his home. The police had late Thursday night tried to seize the equipment, but a standoff between Jones and others against them prevented that. The police also did not have a warrant and returned later to complete the job. An audit conducted showed that the Ministry of Social Protection approved the disbursement of $4.9 million under the Region 4 administration for the procurement of equipment for a barbershop under the Sustainable Livelihood and Entrepreneurial Development Program, with Jones as the beneficiary. However, a description of the SLED project under the then Ministry of Communities had stated that it was meant to cover community-based projects with a per capita investment of approximately $400,000. Jones, in a live interview with some media houses, said he applied for a loan from SLED. However, the project does not offer loans but cash grants, which does not have to be repaid. Jones said he applied for funding to buy 16 barber shop chairs, air conditioning unit and other equipment, and was granted the project under the then Minister of Social Protection, Amna Ali. The project description states that SLED works by distributing interest-free cash grants to registered groups and associations needing the economic boost to improve their economic enterprises. A financial return presented revealed that the full amount was spent by Christopher Jones by December 31, 2019, but almost $1 million in items were not actually delivered, and the project was not executed, and some of the equipment were stored at Jones's home. The Guyana Police Force says it will launch a comprehensive investigation into allegations of criminal conduct by Chief Elections Officer Keith Loingfield and Region 4 Returning Officer Claremont Mingo in relation to the March 2, 2020 general and regional elections and the events that followed. A statement from the police headquarters revealed that it received formal reports against the two men on Friday and subsequently obtained advice from the Director of Public Prosecutions, Shalimar Ali Hack. The police did not say who made the report against the two GECOM employees. Lowenfield is already facing criminal charges in the Georgetown Magistrates Court relating to fraud, misconduct in public office, and breach of the public trust by providing results of the March 2nd elections which he knew to be false. His case has been postponed until August 24, 2020, as lawyers are awaiting a decision from the DPP on whether she will agree with submissions made by counsel to drop the charges against him. As such, the DPP has indicated that in the exercise of powers vested in her under Article 187 of the Constitution, she will take over the private criminal charges. Lowenfield and Mingo are accused of providing fraudulent results of the March elections to give APNU plus AFC a victory. The results of the elections were finally announced on August 2nd after a 5-month delay. The Cuban man and his Guyanese wife, who headed a Ponzi scheme designed to swindle hundreds of millions of dollars from unsuspecting Guyanese, remain in police custody, and persons are beginning to come forward to tell the police their stories. Police headquarters confirmed that they arrested 34-year-old Yuri Garcia Dominguez and his wife, 32-year-old Atika Ishmael of Track A College in East Coast, Demerara. They are associated with Accelerated Capital Firm Incorporated. Police are probing a case of fraud and are asking persons who may have invested with the company to make urgent contact with CID headquarters. On Thursday, Attorney General Anil Nandlal said the government had received dozens of complaints from members of the public regarding the scheme. The Guyana Securities Council had written to President Irfan Ali, Vice President Payara Jagdeo, and the Commissioner of Police informing them of the operations of the scheme in the country. Nandlal met with and received from the Guyana Securities Council a report of the operations of this agency. In short, the report described the agency as a pyramid or Ponzi scheme that has received hundreds of millions of dollars from thousands of Guyanese. The Working People's Alliance, the WPA, has signaled its intention to withdraw from the coalition APNU in 2 months if its demands are not met, and has asked for its nominees to Parliament be withdrawn. A statement from the WPA noted that it was utterly embarrassed that it was informed by the media that APNU had decided on its representatives for the next National Assembly. The WPA said this was done without any engagement, thus denying the party an opportunity to determine who its representatives should be. The WPA said it views this as uncomradely, disrespectful, insulting, a gross disregard for principle, and therefore unacceptable. The WPA therefore requested that the names referred to as its two nominees on the APNU list for Parliament and Region 4 NDC be removed. The WPA said the time has come when it is forced to draw a line in the sand and say that enough is enough. However, given its commitment to coalition politics as the way forward for Guyana, The WPA said it leaves the door open for reconciliation if the following conditions are met. 1. The WPA be immediately accorded the right to determine who its representatives on the APNU list to the National Assembly should be, and 2. That this principle be enshrined in the APNU Charter. Thirdly, the WPA insisted that the recommendations of the Corbyn report be implemented. Should the second and third conditions be met within the next 2 months, the WPA said it would revisit its decision to leave APNU. When the newsroom returns, the PPP plans to introduce jail time for non-disclosure of oil funds, and the Health Minister dispels rumors on Guyana's COVID-19 testing. Come back, you're watching the newsroom. Minister of Health Dr. Frank Anthony has condemned what he said is a deliberate, irresponsible and reckless campaign to spread fake news relating to COVID-19 testing. In a statement, the Health Minister said there are no fake tests in the national system and no country is sending contaminated test kits to Guyana. Dr. Anthony said the COVID-19 testing in Guyana is done with equipment and testing reagents from only validated and certified sources. He said the test reagents and swabs which are presently used were supplied by PAHO WHO. A post-mortem examination conducted on the body of 33-year-old Dexter Weeks found that he died from a gunshot injury to the head, police headquarters said in a statement Friday. A warhead was extracted from the brains, which was enveloped and sent for ballistic tests. The body was then handed over to relatives for burial. The autopsy was conducted by government pathologist Dr. Nihal Singh. The newsroom had reported that Weeks, a gold miner of A-Field Sophia, Georgetown, allegedly committed suicide on Thursday in Region 8. Police said that the man's wife woke up at about 5 hours 30 and saw Weeks consuming a liquid substance which appeared to be alcohol. According to the police, the wife then claimed she was having a conversation with Weeks when she heard a loud explosion and saw a firearm next to his body. Weeks was left lying motionless, police stated. To stamp out corruption in the local oil and gas industry, the 3-week-old People's Progressive Party government will introduce imprisonment for non-disclosure of revenues coming from the industry and reduce the interface between politicians and oil companies. This is according to Vice President Bharat Jagdeo. He told the Kaito News radio program on Thursday evening that the Finance Minister and Secretary to the Treasury will be responsible for ensuring every dollar received is revealed in the official gazette.
We promised and we intend to implement this very soon, if not the first few, as soon as we get over the budget. The legislation that will criminalize non-disclosure of revenue or any receipt from oil companies. So we made it clear that the Minister of Finance or the Secretary to the Treasury, they would have under legislation to gazette every cent collected from the oil companies, big or small, $1 or $100. You know what happened with the 18 million US. That could never happen again. So they must gazette all of this so that the country can read the official gazette and know how much we collected, in what month, etc. And they also have to notify the Parliament, all within a time period, maybe 3 months. Should they fail to do that, there would be a jail penalty attached to it. We are going to ensure that under the new government, and this was from the opposition, that under the new government, we move to more technical agencies performing more of the tasks with the oil companies. So minimizing the contacts between the politicians and the oil companies. That they don't, any negotiation could be from a policy perspective led by maybe a minister or be guidance by the minister or the cabinet, but the negotiations themselves are done at the technical level. So minimizing contact at that negotiating level where a person could trade policies.
Minister of Education Priya Manik-Chan has issued a stern warning to contractors who move at a slow to full pace on government projects, noting that they will face penalties. Manik-Chan, after visiting the Good Hope Secondary School on the East Coast, which has been under construction since 2015, expressed concern with the prolonged delay. Isanella Patwa reports.
The Good Hope Secondary School on the east coast of Demerara is an $857 million project which began in 2015. The state-of-the-art school, which will enroll 800 high-performing students, was expected to be completed by January 2020, but the end time was pushed back to May 2021. Minister of Education Priya Manik-Chan made a site visit to the school on Thursday and says it is unacceptable and warned future contractors of penalties for doing slothful work.
So I want to sound a warning to contractors. The Ministry of Education, and indeed the Government of Guyana, is not going to be tolerant of projects that go way beyond the time.
Funding was secured from the World Bank in 2014 for the Good Hope School and another one of its kind at Yarrow Cabra on the Suzaik-Linden Highway.
So we're building here. We're building a school at Parfait Harmony. We're building one on the highway. We're looking to make sure we have enough schools so that kids can have access. This one here is both exciting when you walk around it and see what it's offering or what it will offer, as well as disappointing and worrying. So when you walk around the school, the design takes into consideration, it's designed to take off 800 students from Plaisance to this area. And not only 800 students, but to take off the top students in this area. So it's a grade A school. Grade A speaks to quantity, and it's a list A school, which speaks to quality. This school has Phys Chem Bio labs. It has all the Tech Voc. It has Tech Voc labs. It has 26 classrooms. It has music room. This is going to be in a multi-purpose hall, like a big auditorium. It has a staff block. It has computer rooms. It has an audio-visual room. It's a beautiful school.
Once completed, the Good Hope Secondary School aims to produce competent and qualified professionals to aid in the development of Guyana. Reporting for the newsroom, I am Isanello Pato.
More news ahead. Stay with us. Welcome back. You're watching the newsroom. Guyana's COVID-19 cases continue to increase, and on Thursday night, the country recorded its 30th death. The 73-year-old man was a patient of the transitional ward at the Georgetown Public Hospital. Upon admission, a swab test was done, and following his death, the results came back as positive. The Ministry of Health did not say when he died. Here is an update from the Ministry on Guyana's COVID-19 cases.
As of the 21st of August 2020, the number of persons tested is 6,628, with 5,743 persons being negative. The total number of tests done is 7,212. The number of positive cases have climbed to 881, with 30 COVID-19 related deaths. There are 410 or 46.5% of persons under close monitoring, with 77 in institutional isolation and 333 in approved home isolation. 8 persons are in the COVID ICU. A total of 433 persons, or 49.2%, have recovered thus far and have been placed on home monitoring with strict measures to prevent any further reinfection. Over the period 15th to the 20th of August, 218 new cases were reported. These cases came mainly from Region Number 4, the East Bank and clusters in Georgetown, Region 9, Lethem area, Region 9, Bartica and surrounding areas, Region Number 10, the Riversview area on the east bank of the Essequibo River, and from the west coast and west bank of Region Number 3. During the last week, we had the first case reported from Region Number 5 and a cluster of imported cases in Region 6, with the occurrence of sporadic cases in Regions 1 and 2. Fellow Guyanese, as you can see from the data over the last week, COVID-19 remains a threat to everyone in all areas of Guyana. Within the last few days, we have noted a lot of concerns about the testing and laboratory confirmation of COVID-19.
Vice President Bara Jagdeo on Thursday evening said the government will ensure that every Guyanese benefits directly or indirectly from the country's oil wealth. He said if this can't be done, then there is no need for the sector, as he pointed to the new government's plans for local content. Bibi Katoon reports.
Vice President Bara Jagdeo said a draft local content legislation will be laid in the National Assembly before the end of the year. The legislation seeks to ensure that Guyanese are involved in and are trained to take over the offshore oil and gas industry, from direct employment to subcontractors.
We are moving swiftly. We are hoping before the end of the year that we have draft legislation that we can put before the Parliament to deal with local content and driving more business and jobs for our people. The whole philosophy is that we want the oil companies to prosper, but Guyanese have to share that prosperity. If we don't, then we might as well shut down the sector. If we don't share the prosperity, and we're gonna ensure that that happens.
Mr. Jagdeo was speaking during an interview on Kaito Radio on Thursday evening. The Vice President said U.S. oil giant ExxonMobil was told that the legislation will be passed, forcing them and future operators to address pressing issues for the business community and ordinary citizens. The Vice President pointed out that too many contracts are being given to foreign contractors and Guyanese are at a disadvantage due to the unfair playing field.
If you're a subcontractor, say a Trinidadian subcontractor now, and for ExxonMobil, you get duty-free concessions on everything, tax concessions. If you're Guyanese, and then they can then use the duty-free concessions and they bid on other projects. So they have an advantage over Guyanese who may want to build a warehouse but never got duty-free concession. And therefore they have to compete with a company that has concession. That has to change.
ExxonMobil and its partners working offshore have made 16 successful oil discoveries since May 2015 on the Stabroek Block, followed by the start of oil production in December 2019. But Jagdeo said enough has not been done to allow Guyanese to benefit from the developments taking place. The government has since engaged Trinidadian local content expert Anthony Paul and is looking to set up a working group to deal with existing matters. Bibi Katoon, Newsroom.
Jay Carter and Malaika Alicog turned a simple conversation into solid business while under the COVID-19 lockdown. The two, with their skills and experience put together, are now co-owners of BringGY.com, an online marketplace that allows anyone with a smartphone or computer to shop online from anywhere in Guyana. Isanala Patwa reports.
Malaika Alicog is a 23-year-old administrative assistant, but she, along with her business partner, 29-year-old Jay Carter, hope to take business in Guyana to another level. An idea to create an efficient, reliable, and easily accessible online platform to shop any product from anywhere in Guyana was birthed from being at home and being scared of the repercussions of COVID-19. Alicog, during a virtual interview with the Newsroom, said she saw that persons were scared to leave their homes during this time and that businesses were struggling to adapt to the new normal of online shopping. So the young woman pitched her BringGY.com idea to Carter, and the two immediately began planning and testing the idea in May this year.
I guess the idea was birthed from just being at home and being scared of what could potentially happen, since we did not know a lot about the COVID, the coronavirus that is. I was just at home and thinking, hey, how will I get my stocks? Like if I need to buy groceries, if I need anything at all, how will I get it? And then I just thought, what if we had a platform where persons can shop virtually anything? The same way persons can go on Amazon and shop and just have it delivered to them, because those delivery platforms were booming when the lockdown happened.
Sellers can list their items on the site, and customers can browse for products and add to their cart. A delivery service is also provided if the sellers do not have their own delivery. The site also has a fully automated system to assist persons with any questions or queries if Carter or Alicog are not available.
I should mention that a lot of the systems are automated, and it's well documented. So if the sellers have a question or so, they can simply go check through the resource guide that we have for them to sell on the platform before they come to us. But however, if they need any further clarification, we're readily available to assist.
Alicock explained that they have not yet officially launched the site because they are awaiting more sellers to come on board.
We've had a few orders and so forth, but we're currently in the process of getting more sellers on board, and we're in the process of introducing the platform to Guyana.
Carter is a part-time systems engineer at V75 and also works as a photographer.
As Malika said, during the pandemic, we had a lot of small businesses that would have now have been looking at ways to get or to boost their virtual presence, and a lot of them would have been like, okay, I have to get my own website, or I should get my own website. So what Bring is basically is like to reach them halfway, because it's not they don't have to worry about all the technical aspects of building their own website. They don't have to worry about the expense. So they still have on Bring, they still have their own area or their own storefront where they list all their products and their prices, whether it's in stock or not. So it's just like their website. It's just like it's a bit of a shared space with other small businesses.
What is unique about Bringy is that persons can shop from anywhere. However, delivery can take hours to 1 day, depending on the location.
We offer delivery to Linden, Berbice, and within Georgetown, of course. Neither do you have to be in Georgetown to purchase these products. So we do delivery around Georgetown every day.
The two young business owners are encouraging other businesses to come on board and expand their reach to not just a store. The newsroom understands that there are plans to later take the service to a regional and international level.
The thing is that it's really affordable, so you don't have to worry about spending a lot of money to set up your account or anything. It's actually free for the first month, and we have a really flexible rate for customers.
The team will further be working on integrating online payment platforms and also create a mobile app. Reporting for the newsroom, I am Isnella Patwo.
When the newsroom returns, the financial weather and bridge reports along with sport.
Welcome back to Newsroom. Avinash Ramzan here with tonight's sport. We start things off with some football news. Guyana's national men's football team has been drawn in Group F of the CONCACAF qualifiers for the 2022 FIFA World Cup in Qatar. The senior national men's team, commonly called the Golden Jaguars, will face Caribbean rivals Trinidad and Tobago, St. Kitts and Nevis, Puerto Rico, and Bahamas in the first step to possible World Cup qualification. These games will be played in FIFA match windows of October and November 2020, and Captain Samuel Cox says he's enthused by Guyana's chances of progressing. Akeem Green spoke to the skipper earlier today.
What are your initial thoughts on the group we are in?
Yeah, I think it's a very positive draw for us. I think, after speaking to all the boys and a couple of staff members, we're all excited for the games. I think if you look at some of the groups that we could have been put in, I think that we're quite happy with the group that we've been drawn in. We by no stretch of the imagination thinking that it's going to be an easy task, but we feel if we apply ourselves right and we prepare correctly, then we're more than capable of getting results against all the sides in our group. So it's the work starts now.
You talk about the work though, but given the issues with COVID, etc., how do you think preparation is going to go for teams? And do you think, I guess, COVID makes it a bit of a level playing field ahead of that first match?
Do you know what, Akeem? It's a strange one, really, because we like a lot of the boys, especially the overseas and international players, are unaware of how COVID is being dealt with in the Caribbean and the CONCACAF sides. So we're unaware of how things are being dealt with in that regard. The only thing we can do is prepare ourselves, train individually as hard as we can. A lot of us are back at our respective clubs. We're back into pre-season, so you'd like to think by October, we're going to be fit and firing, ready to go. Now, that's not the same for everyone. Of course, everybody's got their own situations going on, but everybody is able to work individually if they're not with a club But yeah, I guess at this moment in time, nobody's quite sure of what's going to happen, how the game's going to be run, if there's going to be fans allowed or not. I guess time will tell.
Yeah, given, I guess, we seem to be on an upward path. We got into the Gold Cup last year, and now we're undertaking, to me, an even more difficult path to our qualification. What is your spirit as a captain about our gradual improvement in football over the last couple of years?
Without a shadow of a doubt, everybody that asks me and says, where do you see the GFF and the Guyana men's national side at this moment in comparison to when I first joined, is a whole different animal now. And I think if you look at the progress that we've made, especially over the course of the last 5-6 years that I've been involved in the program, has been dramatic, and it's been a gradual progression. Obviously, when I first joined the program under Jamal Shabazz, that era and that generation of players also played a huge part in that development. And I've just seen year by year little things just in terms of professionalism, in terms of application, and performance, and the ability of the squad too. Some of the boys that are getting called up now, from overseas and international sides, are playing at the top level in their respective leagues. But also you look at the local-based players. Coach Maximo, the gaffer, is doing a fantastic job with them. And you only have to look at our last performance, against Jamaica in their backyard, putting on the performance that we did. A lot of that, starting at 11 was made up of local-based players. So it just shows that the progression, not only from the overseas players, but the local-based players as well, aligning that with, the coaching skills which Maximo is now bringing, and the professionalism of the program. For me, I see it going in the right direction. We have to keep progressing on that and, keep hitting new heights.
Yeah, you talk about it being a positive job, but obviously the setup is quite different. In 2014, at our qualifiers, we made it out of the initial groups, and also we put up with some really strong teams and things went bad for us. What would you think would be the biggest takeaway? I know obviously we want to qualify for the World Cup, but realistically, what would you be happy with at the end of these qualifiers? Would it be making it past this initial group stage, or do you want to go further than that?
I think if it, like I say, you look at the group that we've been put in, I know we will feel confident and we will feel we have the ability to get ourselves out of the group. Now, for us, I think the minimum requirement would be to get out of the first group. Of course, going on from that, it's even tougher. I mean, you're going against some of the big hitters in CONCACAF, so we know that's going to be no easy task. But I feel, like I say, if we prepare right and we have access to the best squad, by calling over the best players who are playing competitive football, then we're going to give ourselves a chance. I back ourselves against most of us teams in CONCACAF, and you only have to look at our last performance against Jamaica, which was outstanding. So yeah, I think initially we have to do our best to get ourselves out of the group. Going forth from that, we know that's going to be difficult, but anything's possible. And then going on from that, that's dream world. That is when you're facing the likes of the Americas and Mexico's, Costa Rica's, for example. But yeah, we take one step at a time. Our initial job is to get out of the group. So we feel that we're going to be more than capable to do so. We'll see how it goes.
Some cricket news now. Trinbago Knight Riders rose to the top of the pile in Heroes CPL with a second successive victory on Thursday night, this time against the Jamaica Towers. The three-time champions are the only unbeaten team in this year's competition, coasting to a target of 136 with just 3 wickets down. Sulan Narain picked up 1 for 19, and Jaden Seals and Ali Khan had 2 each, as Towers made 135 for 8, with Glenn Phillips getting 58. Narain then cracked 53, and Colin Monroe an unbeaten 49 as Knight Riders won by 7 wickets. After the contest, the 2 captains spoke to Ian Bishop.
A convincing win by Trinbago Knight Riders. The captains are here with me. Kyron Pollard to my left and Rovman Powell, of course, to his left. I'll start with you, Rovman. What was the cause of the batting tonight that didn't maximize its abilities?
I think we talked about not losing early wickets and to find myself and Chadwick and also the opener in the pavilion early. is a problem. You know, it's just for us now to go back to the drawing board and don't lose any more wickets in the power play.
Conditions, what were the pitch conditions like when you guys batted?
It was a little bit sticky, you know, but nevertheless, that's not a fault for us not to stay on the wicket and score runs.
From a bowling perspective, how is Andre Russell, by the way?
He's okay, just a little niggle in his foot.
What about the bowling and fielding performance tonight?
I think the feeling is something that we talked about improving. You know, even from the last game, we're dropping too much catches and too much simple misfields. You know, but so it's something for us now to work on.
All right, and the spirits are still, and the self-belief is still there that you can pick up the pace once again?
Yeah, definitely. You don't become a bad team after one game. So the self-belief and the spirit is still there.
All right, all the very best. Thank you very much for talking to us.
Thanks a lot.
Giant figure of Karen Pollard is here with us as well. How pleased are you?
Yeah, very pleased. You know, I spoke already to us about improving in all facets of the game, and you know, I thought we did that. You know, what was evident for us today, I think, was the execution to the power hitters. I thought, you know, that was brilliant. But again, you know, that was set up by the excellent opening spell from Ali Khan and young, you know, Jaden Seals. So again, it just shows that once you plan and when you go out and you execute, you know, things can happen for you. So you were able to restrict, you know, this power lineup, you know, to 135, sorry. I think was fantastic.
We've seen Ali Khan before do his excellent work, but Jaden Seals at the age of 18 bowling in pressure situations, what would conversations like with him?
Again, we want to try to, you know, protect him as much as possible. When he's young, you know, we throw him into the fire, but, you know, try to give him easy rules. But then, you know, in the heat of the moment, you know, sometimes you have to throw him in the fire. And, you know, the couple of times, you know, he has come on, he has shown that he has that, you know, mental capacity, you know, to take, you know, that sort of pressure. It's not one where we're going to consistently, you know, give him the ball in those pressure situations. I could have easily, you know, bring him back in that last over as well. But again, you know, leave him with that confidence, you know, being high. And again, today, I think opening the bowling was on the cards at all. But, you know, after we saw the first couple of balls swung, you know, I thought, you know, might as well, you know, go this out and see what we get.
The batting, Sunil Ryan keeps doing some magic for you in the early rounds of this tournament.
Yeah, again, you know, it shows, you know, how important he is as a player to us. You know, last year he only played 5 games. We weren't able to get the best of him. He hasn't played cricket, you know, for a while, over a year or so. So he was really hungry for this, and what we are seeing is a determined, you know, Sunil Narayan. And when you have a determined Sunil Narayan like that, you know, it only augurs well, you know, for your team. And again, he has tournaments coming up as well. So, you know, hopefully, if he can continue that performance, we'll gladly accept it. But again, he's very, very important, you know, for us. But having said that, you know, I think what was evident in our batting today was that, yes, he was going, but Monroe, he was a bit behind the 8 ball. He was 9 off 23. Right. And again, it showed the experience of not giving your hand away. At that point in time, as a batter, you know, you could have just decided, you know what, better just have a swing and go in and let someone else come and do it. But he stuck to the task. And again, he finished off the game for us.
Congratulations and thanks for your time.
Thank you.
Meanwhile, for the second game in succession, Narayan was named man of the match. It was also his second successive half century of the competition after an even 50 against the Guyana Amazon Warriors in the opening game.
Well, what words are left to describe the mystery spinner Sunil Narayan? A man of the match performance tonight, much like his first time out earlier in the week. Sunil, congratulations. Your first match out, you were 2 for 19 with a half century. Tonight, 1 for 19 with a half century, almost identical figures. How have we been in lockdown and you have found this form so early in the tournament?
It's been good knowing that I've been training before. It's good to go there and perform, so you know your hard work is not in vain. But it's just the starting of the tournament, so hopefully I can continue because I do well in tournaments at the start and don't carry on. But my aim is to try to continue as much as possible and see how much I could really do.
All right, well, it's back-to-back wins for TKR. Might you all be finding the formula of 2018?
It's always good to win, and winning back-to-back games in a tournament. No one has been playing cricket much. It's good for us, so we're not starting on the back foot. And I think it shows how eager that we are. We didn't do as well as we wanted to last year with plenty of injuries, and we have our full team, and we are trying to showcase our talent to the fullest.
Well, I mean, I'm sure you're enjoying this tournament, being in Trinidad and Tobago, but do you miss the fans, the music, the noise?
Yeah, I mean, you must miss the fans knowing that we are winning. It would have been noisy, it would have been red. But I think once God is here and you have the strength to perform, I think that's all you really need.
And finally in sport this evening, Zach Crawley and Just Butler put England in a commanding position by stumps on day 1 of the 3rd test against Pakistan in Southampton. The pair came together with England in a spot of border at 127 for 4 and proceeded to bat to the close with the home team on a solid 332 for 4 after 90 overs. The 5th wicket partnership is so far worth 205 runs. Crawley ended the day on 171, his maiden Test 100, while Butler made his third 50 in 5 innings, closing the day on 87. Those were the only 2 scores of note, as Joe Root made 29 and Dom Sibley 22 in an initial struggle for England. Yasir Shah has so far picked up 2 wickets, while Shaheen Shah Afridi and Nazim Shah have 1 each. England lead the series 1-0 after winning the first Test. The second was severely affected by rain and ended in a draw. And with that, we've come to the end of the news for this evening. Of course, you can find updates on these and other stories on our website, newsroom.gy, our Facebook page, and Instagram. On behalf of the entire news team, my name is Avinash Ramzan. Thanks for watching. Be safe. See you next time.